Let's start this with a prayer. Dear Father, I thank you for this day and this opportunity to be used as a vessel to let your people know that you are available, able, and ready in the name of Yeshua from Nazareth. Now, we're going to go from 6 to 13, Genesis 13. So let's cut this bread. However, Abram answered Sarai, "Look, she's your slave girl. Deal with her as you think fit." Then Sarah treated her so harshly that she ran away from her. The angel of Adonai found her by a spring in the desert, the spring of the road to Shur, and said, "Hagar, Sarai's slave girl, where have you come from and where are you going?" She answered, "I'm running away from my mistress Sarai." The angel of Adonai said to her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her authority." The angel of Adonai said to her, "I will greatly increase your descendants. There will be so many that it will be impossible to count them." The angel of Adonai said to her, "Look, you are pregnant and you will give birth to a son. You are to call him Yishmael. God pays attention because Adonai has paid attention to your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man with his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him, living his life at odds with all his kinsmen." So she named Adonai, who had spoken with her, El Roi, God of seeing, because she said, "Have I really seen the one who sees me and stayed alive?" I don't know who told us that we need to be enemies with anybody. I mean, the only enemy that we really should have is the devil, honestly. But I was wondering about Islam, right? Because recently I've started reading the Quran, and there's so many things about character and keeping you in line and putting the Most High first that it really goes into detail. I just know for me and my household, we believe in Yeshua. I believe that he is the Son of God. He died for me. 3 days later, he rose, paid for my life, my sins, all of that. He's my connection. But then I started asking the Most High, I'm like, so how does this happen? He said, "Do you think that I'm only going to make a covenant with just one group of people, even though they deviated from my plan? My plan was, when I was ready to give them children, I was going to give them children. I was going to bless them. I was going to do what I wanted to do." Because in Genesis 15, Abraham is talking to Adonai, and he's like, how am I going to have all these descendants? I'm childless right now. He said, the one that's going to be inheriting my stuff is one of my servants. And he's like, no, 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 no. You're going to have, look in the sky. You see the stars? If you can count them, that's how your descendants are going to be. So I don't know if you know, but Hagar was his wife. Not just some concubine, but she was his wife. So if God had a connection with Abraham, he's going to have a connection with her. Hence, we have Ishmael. And this is where, the line of the Muslims come from. And God said, and I'm like, but God, why? And again, he said, I had my way, but when people want to do what they want to do, this is what happens. He said, but when I went and I found Sarai and I told her to go back, I told her that I would greatly increase her descendants. There would be so many that it would be impossible to count him. But then he also gave an indication of what kind of seed this would be. Ishmael, he'll be a wild donkey of a man with his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him, living his life at odds with all his kinsmen. And when you think of the Muslims, everybody has beef with them. For what? And they don't let any outside stuff come in. From birth, they're teaching their kids salat. They're teaching their kids dua. They're teaching their kids the benefits of fasting. And I said all of that to come to this. Today, as I was working, this girl comes in and something's off about her. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, she's like, "I just feel this tightness in my chest." I'm like, Are you okay? She's like, yeah, and she gets to breaking it down. I've been going through a lot of stuff. I'm trying to be strong for people. I just came to see somebody. They put me on psych meds. Like, I'm having a lot of anxiety. And I said, look, I'm not religious, but I do have a relationship with the Most High. I'm like, do you know him? She said, yeah, I'm a Muslim. And I looked at her like, girl, now you know when you're raised in this religion, they got a religion, I got a relationship, right? But it's still whatever they got with the Most High, they keep it in sync with it, straight in tune with it. We teaching our kids, generation after generation after generation, this is what it is. So she's crying. And I'm like, do you have anybody that you can lean on? And she's thinking. I'm like, no, because I just zone in on her and I can see this spirit of depression, the spirit of being overwhelmed, the spirit of being conflicted, like trying to suppress her. But what's going to happen is I got too much power to let anybody hurt one of my sisters. If we believe in the same God, we're both daughters of the Most High. You think I'm going to let you be in a fight by yourself? Never. So she's crying and she's like, and I said, look, you don't need anybody but him. I said, but you know this though. I said, those aren't going to help. And I'm not giving her medical advice, but I'm talking about spiritually. Like, this is a spiritual battle. I said, girl, it's time for you to fight. She's like, I'm not a fighter. I said, yes, you are. You're a daughter of the Most High. You know that the shaitan is out here trying to do whatever he can to rob you of what the Most High has blessed you with in this day. Now, I don't know anybody who would kind of be like, yo, we kind of like cousins, so if you in a fight, I'm in a fight with you. But that's how it is. And you got to respect it because, man, even though they have a lot of like rules and regulations that they have to follow, and man, they stay committed to it. Yeshua said, keep my Father's commandments. We can't even worship on the Sabbath. We don't even keep that holy. But it's amazing to me how like we can think that we're better than the next person. Because Sarah thought she was like, look, I want a kid. We gonna have this kid. Moving ahead of the Most High. Sent her Egyptian slave girl to be her man's wife. And then she wasn't happy with the results because now she's like, baby, you ain't gonna treat me. This my baby daddy. And then she had enough. And then she was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit it. I don't need to stay here. None of this. I'd rather die in the desert. And the fact that the Most High came and found her and she had this encounter with him, you don't think he loves them? His covenant with them is completely different from our covenant through Yeshua. We're made righteous because of him and him being in our lives. So I implore you, if you're after the same thing, peace, correction, and obedience is definitely keys to walking with the Most High in this time. And if you see one of your Muslim brothers or sisters in a fight, I hope you step up. I hope you see it. I hope that God in you allows you to see the struggle, the need to run away, the need to find an out. There is no out. We got to stand 10 toes down, chest up, head up, chest out. Ready. Wow. Yishmael, God pays attention. And that line, God pays attention to everything. You got to think about everything that the Most High has thought of. I'm glad we have random conversations, and then he shows me in real life why it's important to not be biased and say, oh my gosh, you don't rock with Yeshua, I can't help you. You better go get one of your little Quran friends. Shut up. It sounds stupid. Holla at the Most High.